Yep. I guess, can you give us an overview of what happened?
Sure. Chief Mark Olson with the Greenville Police Department. Around 11:25 this morning, we received a phone call from the pastor here at St. Timothy's Church off the fire tower for a man inside the church with a gun. And also there was believed to be a second individual, a female, that was outside, also had a firearm that was in a vehicle. So officers quickly responded to the area and they took up a perimeter and began to sort the story out. As officers arrived on the scene, they located the pastor and also the individual that had the firearm. He was actually coming out of the church at that time. Officers quickly detained that individual and began to do a search of the building for the female that was supposed to be involved. The female was not on the property on our initial response. As officers were clearing the inside of the building, we received information that the female was nearby and she was detained just about a quarter mile from here in her vehicle. She was also found to be in possession of a firearm. So the investigation up to this point, what we believe took place is that the initial person of interest, the suspicious person that walked into the church with a gun, is known to the pastor here at the church, and identified himself and told the pastor, in fact, that he had a firearm and a ballistic vest, and that he had planned to meet somebody here on the parking lot, and also informed the pastor that there was a second individual, female, outside waiting as well, and she also had a firearm. So the pastor did the right thing, but quickly took action on the information. There was only the pastor and the secretary in the church at the time this took place. There were no other individuals or children inside the church. So the pastor had the secretary evacuate the church, and the pastor barricaded himself into his office to make the phone call to 911 and to relay information to us. The individual, the suspicious person, began to just walk around inside the church and walk into another building that was nearby, which is where the officers found that individual when they arrived on the scene just moments later after receiving the phone call. So at this point, where we stand with the investigation is both individuals have been taken to headquarters for interview and to begin to sort the story out. The scene is secure, there were no injuries, and at this point we don't believe there are any direct threats to the pastor or the secretary. However, they did the right thing and they called 911 and allow us to begin to sort the report out.
Great position.
Any idea how the two were known to each other?
The male and the female are acquaintances of one another. That's what we do know at this point. They were familiar with one another. Again, we believe that they came here with the intent of meeting somebody on the parking lot, which is the information that was relayed to the pastor. From that point, we don't know any real details beyond that as to what that meeting took place or if it was what was to occur there. But we do know that they believed, they knew each other, came here together essentially to support one another during some sort of a meeting that was supposed to take place on the church property. A meeting that led them to believe that they needed to bring firearms.
And the pastor, was he able to share light on this person and his level of familiarity with him?
He is familiar with the person. That's all I know at this point. I'm not sure how deep his familiarity is with him, but he is familiar with the person that we have that we detained that had the firearm. And at this point, we'll just be interviewing everybody and trying to sort the story out.
Do you know why they chose the church as a meeting ground?
I don't know why they chose the church. I think the church is familiar to the person of interest that we have detained, so the church location is familiar to that person. But beyond that, I don't know why they chose this as a meeting point.
How many people were evacuated?
There were only two people in the church at the time this happened, just the pastor and the secretary. So the secretary left prior to our arrival, and the pastor stayed and made the phone call.
In this day and age, you know, with everything going on, you hear stuff on the news all the time. What was your immediate reaction when you found out that there was someone armed at a church here in Greenville?
Yeah, these types of calls get the highest priority for the police department, and our officers acted responsibly, professionally. They handled this as at the highest level of response for us. They quickly got on scene. As a police chief and commander, we helped support them in their initial response, and then coordinate the secondary search, and then begin to bring detectives out to investigate the matter.
What are some of the things that you guys are trying to get to the bottom of when interviewing these two people? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The simple answer is why. Why the church? What made you? Who were you? Who are they going to meet here? What was the purpose of that meet? What would make you believe that you would need to bring firearms to it? And so this just has a lot of questions, more questions than answers at this point in the investigation. So we'll let the detectives conduct those interviews and try to piece this back together.
What about relations with the police department and the two individuals? Are you guys, or do you know these people?
No, I don't think we have any direct connection with them at this point, but that's to be determined later on.
So you said they brought guns inside the church, or had guns on them? Was like one hanging outside and the other was inside, and the pastor saw the gun, or?
Right, we believe the first individual did bring the firearm into the church, and then after he notified the pastor that he had the gun, he just walked off and began walking around inside the church, which prompted the pastor to have the secretary evacuate the church. The second individual that had the firearm did stay outside and had left the scene, but then was stopped a short distance away.
Are you able to say if it was long guns or handguns?
They were handguns. Yes. That's really all the details we have at this point. We can give you an update a little later on today as we sort the story out.
Did they both have vests on, or was it just the one male that had the vest on?
The male for sure that I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said the pastor knew this guy?
Yeah, they were acquaintances with one another.
Okay, did he ever say how they knew each other, or go into any specifics?
The other individual was a female.
Okay.
If I wasn't clear on that, the individual who stopped inside the church was a male. The person that was stopped outside the church a short distance away was a female. Okay? Thank you all.
Chief.
And what time did this happen?
He
Told the preacher that, and then the pastor then called 911.
Yeah, he actually had the vest on underneath his clothes. So it wasn't readily apparent.
Under his clothes or something?
Yeah, under his just normal clothes.
Okay. Did the pastor say how he knew the guy? Or did you go into any specifics about that?
Not sure. No. Just acquaintances. That's all we do.
Gotcha. Okay.
Glad that it wasn't
Okay.
Quite an awkward
injuries or
situation.
anything.
And
right.
Chief, you did indicate that no threats were made towards the pastor or any of the staff members, right? Did he say?
Yeah, I believe he did say
Yeah,
that.
we got that in there. Yeah,
And
no
no
direct
threats
threat.
to the public.
And no direct threat to the public.
Sounds like it's just more bizarre, just wandering around.
Yeah, that's why we're calling it a suspicious person at this point until we can investigate it further. If charges are placed, then we would call him a suspect.
Got it. Okay.
So I was trying to
Yeah.
kind of get that across to you.
Okay.
So,
Thank
all right.
you so
It's just two
much.
people are being interviewed right now.
Yes,
Those
that's right.
two
No one
individuals.
has been charged or arrested at this point. They're just being interviewed at the police department at this time to get further information.
That's so odd, though.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.